Good morning and welcome to Morning Movie News. Today is kind of a superhero edition because there are two big headlines that a number of you have wanted to discuss here on the show. And the first is that the CW has found its Flash. It's Grant Gustin from Glee. He played a villain who tried to come between Kurt and Blaine's romance from another school. Now, I only saw him in about one or two episodes on there. He was very evil. But a number of you, I think the people seem a little torn on his casting. I think some people feel he's a perfect fit for the CW, but I feel few people feel he's a great fit for the Flash. Now, of course, we would like to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, and we'll see how he does, because Stephen Amell has done quite a nice job as Oliver Queen, Green Arrow. But I have to say, and I agree with a number of commenters, that he just looks really young. He's playing Barry Allen, who is a criminologist, obviously with the police department, and this guy looks like an intern. I don't even think he looks like he's out of college. So I really question that kind of casting, and it makes me wonder if they want their Flash spinoff to be like a teen show, more like, because that's where, of course, where the CW, their sweet spot is, where they do their best work. So I really questioned that casting when I saw it. It certainly wasn't something that would be like, oh, maybe I should get back into Arrow now. I've tried a few episodes. It's really not for me. I'm not a big fan of TV superheroes. That's why I'm interested to see how S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to work out, because I feel that without the large budgets and the TV lighting, you just really lose what you need to have a superhero work. It's like, and also I don't think they have like the clever self referencing and meta humor that you would find in something like Kick-Ass that kind of made that work. So I don't like this casting at all, and I really feel that the more they do with the Flash on the CW, the more and more I feel he's not going to be able to be in the films, in the DC cinematic universe. But truth be told, I feel the Justice League movie is so far away. They're saying that, the whole reason they gave Ben Affleck Batman is so that he would direct a Justice League movie. I would probably say it's more likely that so he would direct a Batman movie, the first big Batman film, so they're letting them do this Batman-Superman film to let him just act and get his feel for the character before he goes behind the camera as well. Because I just feel they're so far away, their characters are spread out across television and film, that I just don't see a Justice League movie happening in any time in the near future. And I don't see how it can when you're going to have a Flash on television. I feel if that decision was made, the higher-ups must know something they're not sharing. So overall disappointing. I think the Flash would be a great film character, and I just don't really know if a television show has the budget to do a speedster. And to do him interestingly. It'll be interesting to see what Bryan Singer does with Quicksilver in Days of Future Past. That'll be our first speedster coming to the big screen with today's special effects. Of course, obviously, Dash was fantastic in The Incredibles, and that was animation. So that's the first story of the day. The second story of the day is everybody wants to know about that Justin Bieber tweet where he tweeted himself with a Batman-Superman script and said he was going to be Robin. And of course, when everybody was covering the story, they said, oh, well, it's well known that Justin Bieber is a huge Batman fan, so this would be like a dream come true for him. And maybe he is a big Batman fan. Maybe he has good taste when it comes to that area. But I just feel that, first of all, Warner Brothers would have to have completely lost their mind. I mean, I can kind of understand where they're coming from with Ben Affleck, but I don't think Ben Affleck would even agree to it. To have Justin Bieber sign on would just be ludicrous. It would be like a Saturday Night Live sketch of the casting. That's how horrible it would be. But I mean, he also had later tweeted, I'm going to do something funny or die. And I think Justin Bieber as Robin is a funny sketch. But if I were the Funny or Die executives, I'd be pretty upset because he just blew the punchline. So the video will almost become an afterthought. I wonder if I guess it will go viral no matter what. Justin Bieber just has to tweet it a few times and it will go viral with his following. But I think it's totally made up. It's just a way to get buzz for Justin Bieber, who really actually is lacking in buzz lately. Maybe he should sing a song. And I think that was just totally made up. And as a number of you have pointed out, the script isn't even completed for Batman Superman. So, and also, I think this is also why I wanted to bring this up. Some people are saying there's going to be no Robin in the DC Cinematic Universe. And I actually think that's a huge mistake. I think casting an age-appropriate Robin, 10 or 11 or 12, that age range where he's clearly a child, would be fantastic. Robin is a hugely popular character to comic book readers and even to people who watch the animated series. I've done top 10 lists of characters. For instance, I did one with Brandon Montclair, former editor at Vertigo, over on Think About the Ink, top 5 male characters, and we both put a Robin on our top 5s. Because I put Damian Wayne and he put Robin overall. Because he's just such a phenomenal character. He's like the one sidekick in comics that has grown into his own, his own fandom. and just mythology, just a fantastic character. So I think to just write that off and say for Hollywood to go, oh, that's just so stupid, that's just like all we think about of Robin is what we've seen from the Adam West show, is really foolish, because I think Robin could be his own franchise, and I think that you could really break in some great new talent and do some great storylines. All right, so that's the second news story of the day. The third story of the day is that obviously with the huge success of Insidious Chapter 2, and Movie Math is coming. I apologize for this delay. I'm trying so hard to get back on schedule, but somebody here in our office took home the tripod plates. So yesterday we lost half a day trying to find them. It was very frustrating and very annoying and very unprofessional of that individual. But anyway, so I'm a little bit behind this week, but these things will get up. But anyway, Insidious Chapter 2, big hit. So, of course, Insidious Chapter 3 has been greenlit, and Leigh Whannell, who writes these films, is on board, but of course James Wan has left. He is going on to Fast and Furious 7, and while he kind of teased recently that he might come back for a zombie movie or something like that, he's effectively out of the horror genre for a very long time. Unless Fast and Furious 7, somehow he tanks the franchise, and then he'll definitely be back for Insidious Chapter 3. But I'm curious to see if these films can live on without him. Saw obviously did very well, and that both Wan and Whannell left. But with Whannell still there kind of to keep things going, maybe Whannell will step up to the director's chair to kind of keep the film's pedigree going. So I'm just curious if a lot of you are interested in Insidious Chapter 3, because while the film did very well at the box office, from the comments I've been seeing that you left on my movie review and just in general online, people seem not totally in love with the sequel. So I find that interesting. So that's today's top 3 stories. The question today is from Anton Props and Others. Anton Props and Others. And it says, Grace, do you think comic book writers could write TV shows? It's basically the same. Like you've got the overlapping story arcs, long-term characters, etc. Would love to hear your thoughts on this. Thank you, Anton. I actually do have some thoughts on this, which is why I picked it as today's viewer question. I feel very strongly that every medium, it takes skill to write it, and it's hard to transition between writing mediums. I'm talking about comic books, novels, TV shows, movies. I think that you would be impressed of how much actual skill and craftsmanship can go into these things. I mean, I think when you're just starting out in a field, you're like, hey, either you've got it or you don't. Either you have a natural ability or you don't. And that's true to some degree. But don't underestimate the importance of experience and just knowing how to write in that field. And there's a great small book written by Alan Moore about how to write comic books. And he talks about the fact that is a medium unlike any other. And I would say all mediums are unique. And it's not easy to jump between them. I've seen many a novelist and TV writer fail in comics. And I've seen a number of comic book writers not be able to transition too well over into television. I mean, look at Brian K. Vaughan. The man is arguably one of the best comic book writers out there, if not, I think nobody's the best, but he's really up there. And I think he's failed to create the same kind of memorable content on television. And it's just because it's difficult and it takes time to understand the pacing of a medium, the tricks of a medium, how to get in and out of scenes, how to, for instance, when you're doing television, you have to be able to handle commercial breaks. You have to be able to handle the 3-act structure of an episode. It's just very interesting. So I would say, in any area, don't feel that, for career advice, and I know this isn't the question, but I just feel I want to add it. Don't feel that you're going to be a jack of many trades. I feel that is a huge thing that undercuts a number of people trying to get started in any business. You really have to pick an area and just, double down. Now, I'm not saying you can't, pick a, I guess that's not totally true. But don't feel, I'm going to write just anything. I think that you really need to commit to a certain area and become an expert in it. So I would pick a field. And, I'm not saying you can't eventually transition, but don't kid yourself and think it's going to be easy. So my answer is, I actually do not think that comic book writers can easily transition to television. I think it can be done, but if to do so, I think they have to be humble, realize the obstacles they have to face, and it's going to take time to get there anyway. Because I have to say, as many of you know, I write a comic book, and it took time to really get, I've written a number of comic books. I've written, mini-series before Superbia, which is my comic book right now, and it takes time to learn those tricks of the trade, to understand pacing, how best to work with your artist. There's all a huge learning curve. So that's my thoughts for today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Write down below your comments on the top 3 stories and today's viewer question and anything you'd like to see covered or discussed tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye.